memories about weddings. My first memory of a wedding was when I was 9 years old and had been asked to be a junior groomsman. It was a big Roman Catholic wedding, and I don't remember a whole lot other than being really hot and lots of kneeling and standing and kneeling and standing. And after an hour and a half, I remember being done. That's my first memory of a wedding. Now, as time has progressed, and especially in my profession, I've been to a lot of weddings and seen a lot of wonderful, incredible things, a lot of great vows that have been written by the couple, many great songs that have been sung either as solos or duets or by the congregation. There are those ways that we come together and we celebrate. We lift up this witness of people in relationship with one another. I invite you for a moment to think about what some of those fun and wonderful memories have been for you. What is that wedding that has really inspired you in music or in vows? And if you're Steve Glass, you better have an answer just like that, because we know that Judith is ready. That has been one of those things in which we think about life together and the ways that we are lifted up in community. But also what happens after the vows are said and the songs are sung. I have thoroughly enjoyed weddings where they have been away. Either at a camp setting, where some of my friends worked at camp together and so opted to have their wedding at that camp, or have had to travel across the country to attend family weddings or friends' weddings, where you had to stay in a hotel with other people and have that time together. Because sometimes I think we miss out on that communal element, where people come together in conversation, in life. And as we think about what is happening here today with this wedding in Cana, this wasn't just an hour and done sort of affair. When the community gathered in Galilee, they got together, oftentimes for 3, 4, 5, 6 days, celebrating this couple, but also celebrating what it meant to be community. And especially in a time where things were rough, it was good to be drawn together, to remember how we are each connected and relating to one another. So the people have come together to celebrate this wedding with a lot of food and a lot of wine. They have come together to lift up the couple and to be together in this wonderful celebration. But something happens. They run out of wine. A challenge at that point in time, perhaps by some considered disgraceful or at least poor etiquette, that you hadn't thought through how many people were going to be there. My guess is they didn't have the little RSVP cards that we're so used to filling or not filling out today. But that the people were there with this community and were nervous that they had underestimated who was showing up and how they could best serve them. Now it's interesting to me, and I've been pondering with some friends, the role of Mary in this story. Because before Jesus is even mentioned, we are told that Mary goes to this wedding. Oh, and by the way, Jesus and his disciples are also invited. But it makes me think that Mary is someone who is either part of the family or a very dear friend of the person who is getting married. And that she is back there in the kitchen, maneuvering behind the scenes, making sure all of the trays are loaded and the food is brought out and people are cared for. That she is part of the hospitality crew or center for this wedding. And that as she realizes that they're running out of wine, there is a group back in the kitchen saying, "Oh no, we are running low." Now, I know that there are people here at Calvary who take on that same role, whether it's with coffee hour and what's happening and who's on first and who's on second and where the treats are, or during the potlucks where we're worried that there are so many desserts and are there enough salads and people running around to make sure that everything is taken care of. But here, Mary goes and she talks to Jesus. And she says, would you do something about this? Now, I'm having a hard time with Jesus in this story because he strikes me as kind of an obstinate 30-year-old son who really hasn't grown up and isn't taking responsibility. You know, imagine someone who's living in his mother's basement, who's being approached to say, would you help out with this task? And saying, no, I really don't want to right now. It doesn't work for me. It's not my time, my way of doing it. I'd much rather play PlayStation or hang out with my friends over here with cards. So imagine Jesus in this way, perhaps, just saying, no, now's not the time. And then Mary, as a good Jewish mother, saying, just ignore him and go get things ready and do exactly what he tells you to do. She continues to probe and prod and make sure that things are going to happen. Everyone is going to leave with plenty of food and plenty of drink, and she is going to make sure of it. And so Jesus, at his mother's bequest or demand, finally has them load up these big casks, 20 to 30 gallons of water. We don't even hear about any hands moving over it or hocus pocus. He just says, draw out the water and take it to the steward. And this head steward is amazed. Amazed at what is happening, that there is this incredible wine. And the disciples hear and see this and are amazed. And they believe. This becomes the first sign in the Gospel of John in which Jesus is being lifted up as something other than just some guy who's hanging out on the couch in the basement. That Jesus is being lifted up as other than just a rabbi who has shown up for the event, hanging out with a few followers. That Jesus has shown up as one who has particular qualities and gifts that can transform a community.